is going on?
They're back.
Are we back? We're back.
Actually, they're forward.
The time continuum has been disrupted, creating this new temporal event sequence resulting in this alternate reality.
Mom, you're so big. So I said, what's the catch?
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future Part 2. World television premiere Friday on Showtime.
She encountered her older self and went into shock. Just as I predicted. She'll be fine. Let's get her back to 1985. And then I'm going to destroy the time machine.
Destroy it? What about all that stuff about humanity? Where we're going and why?
The risks are just too great as this incident proves. And I was behaving responsibly. Just imagine the danger if a time machine were to fall in the wrong hands. My only regret is that I'll never get a chance to visit my favorite historical era, the Old West. The time traveling is just too dangerous. Better that I devote myself to studying the other great history of the universe. Women.
Marchy McFly, Marchy McFly. Year 6 of Marchy McFly. Ready or not. Year 6 of Marchy McFly. I'm back, great Scott. It's year 6. 31 straight days for you. In year 6. It's back to the future part 2. Every day. Gonna have a little talk of Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc.
Do you remember the future? Bing, bang, boom. Bada beep, bop, bing, boom. Biddy boop. We are on day 12 already. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy March 12th. Happy day 12 of Marchy McFly 6. Yes, it is March 12th. And that means that for the 12th straight day, I'm here talking about Back to the Future 2 to you. In fact, technically, the podcast has come out for 12 straight days. But I've been doing it for 11 straight days because the first episode I did the night before. I recorded it the night before so that it would publish bright and early at the beginning of Marchy McFly. And ever since then, I've pretty much been doing it at night, that night. So that first, it's always weird when you're doing a podcast every day, or you're doing a podcast that comes out every day, and you do one like ahead of time. That day, I think at least 4 or 5 times, I'm like, wait, I forgot to do it. Wait, did I do it? Have I done it? Oh my goodness. And you start to panic, and then you realize, wait a second. You prepared, Michael. You prepared. And I'm going to have to do that probably next week. I'm going to have to start getting, doing double time. I've talked about this before, but doing double time because 2 weeks from today, I will be driving from Florida to, I want to call it South Carolina, I think. It's North Carolina or South Carolina. I don't know when they decided to have 2 of them, but it's one of those. So that's what I'll be doing 2 weeks from today. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be from there to Virginia. And then 2 weeks from Saturday, we'll be from Virginia back to this chair that I am sitting in right now. And at that point, that day, there will be only 4 days left in Marchy McFly. I don't want to, like, when I'm back, I want to actually start doing the recording. Like, I want to do the recordings then. I don't want to preload them all. I'd like to have some adventure after my Florida adventure. I don't see me doing any during the trip. I go down on a Tuesday. So Tuesday night, Wednesday we're there, Thursday we leave. Wednesday is kind of my downtime. Take a book to the pool and just chill. And help my mother-in-law pack. I guess there's that as well. But that's, I'm probably going to be talking about it more and more over the next 2 weeks because I'm going to start panicking. You know, like, uh-oh, here it comes. And then you get through it, and you're like, whew, we're done for another 6 months. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to hear me complain constantly. Well, maybe some of you are here to hear me complain. I know one of you guys is only here to hear me talk shit about my mother. Well, I wonder if I'll ever... that gives me an idea. Interesting. But that's, again, weeks away. We're still here talking about Back to the Future Part 2, and I'm so very excited because the future ends today. We're in the future for just like a minute more, and then we go back to the sweet comfort of the 80s. It's definitely better. I'm already like, I watched this 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and I'm already like, well, wait a second. This seems convenient. And I shouldn't say it seems convenient because the movies have to sometimes be convenient because they're not always a quote unquote slice of life. Sometimes they're an adventure and they're a story, and things have to happen in a story to get the story to progress. So there's probably better ways to do it sometimes. Some obviously do it better than others. So I don't know if everything I'm saying is like, well, this is a little clunky, a little on the nose. But it's what it is. So I'm not going to waste any more time as we're about to jump into the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds of Back to the Future Part 2.
Back to the Future Part 2 will continue. From USA Studios, another backstory.
When we were editing Dumb and Dumber, we would take breaks, and every time, for some reason, we'd always catch Weird Science. It was on constantly. We were looking, and we just like were in awe of her. We said, is there a more beautiful woman on the planet? So we wanted to call her in, basically to meet her and maybe get her number. She's incredible. Yeah, she's really special.
Weird Science on USA and nowhere else. Tonight at 10. Back to the Future Part 2 now continues on USA.
Today on Marchy McFly, we will be reaching the 40-minute mark of the movie. We will be watching from 36 minutes and 40 seconds to the 40-minute mark. We will be leaving 2015 behind for good. And there will be questions, though. There will be questions. And, you know, I love Doc and I love Marty, but they seem to have they don't have good hearing. They don't have peripheral vision. They don't seem to pay attention to certain things. Like, they seem oblivious. And yes, maybe, you know, going through temporal displacement does jar you a bit. But I don't know. I've never done it. But they seem to be lacking common, like, just awareness for everything that's going on around them. And it's for the convenience of the viewer, I suppose. Things that you will notice, that we should notice, that they also should notice, but don't seem to want to notice for some reason. we start with Jennifer just like shocked that her future husband sucks at guitar now because he can't drive. But she's like, the hell with this. I need to get the hell out of here. So before she leaves, like she's actually standing way too long behind Marty. She dashes away really quickly as Lorraine goes up and is like, what's this thing about the facts? Oh, Needles and I were joking. Marty's saying, it's a joke, facts, even though he just lost his job and his future is, definitely in question. At that exact moment, she goes to leave and the door, or at least, that area is kind of the seam in between Jennifer Young and Jennifer Old, the 85 Jennifer and the 2015 Jennifer, even though, again, they don't cross paths. So there doesn't have to be, like, they don't overlap at all. There doesn't have to be a seam or any kind of trick photography. It's just, the split camera that, we've been doing all the way back when Mr. Drummond and Mr. Drummond's, wait a minute, what, didn't actually Conrad Bain have a twin? I'm sure there was someone who, when TV shows, they used to have the twin dress up and they'd be like, or not the twin, they'd have the actual person play two parts. Like, I think maybe, I don't know if we're talking about Myrtle Urkel and Urkel, who knows? You know what I mean? They'll have a character play two different people and they can do the split screen and you can kind of see the scene. You can see the, like when you're watching old split screen TV shows from the 80s, sitcoms, you can kind of see that something just seems a little bit off. Here, we're in 1989. They have a camera with a nice, as I said, a memory rig, like it knows exactly where to go. So it does it for both. For every shot they do, they can recreate the movement exactly. So that's not the issue here. The issue is that Jennifer is hours and hours late. Nobody knows knows where she is. The issue is that Jennifer doesn't really change her hair in 30 years. Marty's hair, looks kind of the same too. It's weird. They actually just have gray version of their hair. Jennifer's hair looks almost exactly the same. And am I crazy? I always thought Jennifer in the first movie had longer hair. And I feel like I've watched the movie so much. Maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe she just has a shorter neck, so the hair seems longer. I don't know. But Jennifer shows up after going God knows where she is. And she sees this girl. The girl looks at her. Jennifer looks about 65 years old, even though she's supposed to be 47. She has bags under her eyes. It's just like I don't think people looked that old at 47 then. Did they? I feel like they didn't know any better. And they're like, I guess this is what 47 looks like. I mean, even Lorraine and George looked better than Marty in the first movie, looked better than Marty and Jennifer here. This looks, and again, it's the future. You think they would have gone the opposite way to make them barely look like they've aged. Oh, things have gotten better in the future. Maybe they can't afford the same things that Doc was able to do, change of blood, replace some organs. So I guess that's why they're older. Maybe they look this way because they can't afford to not look this way. I definitely am reading way too much into it, and that's the exciting thing. So young Jennifer looks at old Jennifer. I always like that she says, I'm old, and the other one says, I'm young, and they do the exact same. I don't know if I like that they do the exact same thing. It's a little slapsticky, but I like that one says I'm old and one says I'm young. The younger Jennifer falls back right into Doc's arms. The older Jennifer falls back into no one, and I'm assuming she's bleeding out right there. We don't ever see them again. There's never a concern. So like, it'd be really great if you saw like ambulances coming and they're pulling out Jennifer and they're like, try breathe. Don't lose her. Don't lose her. We've got to bleed her. But instead we just never see them again and we forget about them completely. And in the end, I know we're going to project, but in the end, this universe that we see is part of a timeline that gets erased. So everything that those people have ever known, everything that they've ever experienced will be evaporated. So Marty's still standing 20 feet from where the DeLorean was stolen and where it was returned. And he just turns, he's like, oh, why is the DeLorean smoky and someone's getting out of it? No big deal. Doc's like, Marty, come quick. Marty comes. And then we see Biff get out of the car. The car is smoking, so obviously it traveled through time. So obviously Biff figured it out. Maybe Doc left the instructions right there on the dashboard. I don't know. But for some reason, he gets out with such force that he breaks his wonderful cane, which makes no sense. Now, I believe Kirk Cameron, noted kook Kirk Cameron, says in the behind the scenes that the deleted scene we know there's a deleted scene where Biff disappears, which makes no sense. And I think they said, oh, we believe like the story is, or we can assume, or the assumption was that Lorraine killed Biff, in the alternate timeline. To me, I'm wondering the moment Biff went back to 1955, he changed the future. So when they go back to 1985, which is the future to the 55, we'll see things are slightly different. We see a little bit of that today. But then I ask you, what is this 2015? This 2015 should not exist at all now, because in Biff's past, Biff went to the past. And in that timeline, we know what happens to George. I'm getting ahead of myself. We know what happens to Biff. So my question is, who's in this house? What's this timeline? And where did this Biff come back to? Like, how did he come back to this timeline? When he came back to the future, he should have seen the new future. Because when Marty went back to 55 and he came back to the future in 1985, he didn't come back to the regular 1985 and disappear. He came back to a new future. So Biff should have come back to seeing the new future. He shouldn't see any of this. None of this should exist, because it couldn't have existed. Well, at least not in this way. There should be another Marty out there somewhere, another Jennifer, another Lorraine. There shouldn't be a George. George should not be in the house. There shouldn't be kids. Or if there are kids, there's enough difference that this probably doesn't exist, because now Marty is I'm going to say it. We're going to go ahead of the time. Marty is the stepson of a, rich, gambling, casino owning, bad hair tyrant. No. I'm talking about Biff this time. And this shouldn't exist. This is bad science. And I know it's Back to the Future 2 and it shouldn't matter, but I'm hung up on the fact that Biff should not be allowed to come back to this time. And maybe that's why he disappeared. Maybe the ripples haven't happened yet, but they had happened. They haven't happened for 1955 yet, but they have happened. But then again, maybe I'm going to try something here. Maybe this doesn't change, because apparently what Biff does in the end doesn't stick. And yet, if that's the case, then 1985 should be fine. So 1985 is different because Biff changed 1955. Even though they're going to go back, they're getting to see all the strings. So I guess seeing the different 1985 makes logical sense in the space-time continuum. Sure. But this world, this 2015, should cease to exist because of what Biff did. And Biff should not be allowed to come back to this time. I think that might be the biggest flaw in this entire movie, is that Biff was allowed to come back. If anything, the time machine should be somewhere else. Because, like, how would Biff get back? He took the time machine, he changed the past so that when he grows older, he wouldn't be able to take the time machine back. Do you know what I mean? Right? Because in 85, they change things that don't have to do with the time machine. This time they're changing things with someone who stole the time machine and went back for a specific reason. So when he took the time machine back, well, actually, at the end of the first movie, they brought the time machine back to a different future. That's what should have happened here, and it didn't. And I'm getting hung up on it, but that's what Marchy McFly is for. This it just shouldn't exist. So they go, okay, but it does. Apparently it does. So they get Jennifer, and Doc says she ran into her future self, and the shock, she passed out, she fainted with a shock, just like I suspected. And yet, like a little while ago, Doc suspected that the whole universe, the whole reality would collapse on itself, or if we were lucky, just our universe. Now he's like, oh, she fainted just like I thought. Like, I'm sorry, what? That bothers me. And they bring Jennifer back. I mean, they just manhit that. That's definitely not Elizabeth Shue. She has her arm right over her face so you don't see it's her. Like, they're not going to manhandle Elizabeth Shue. Get a stunt woman in there, throw her into the frigging car, and be done with it. So that's why her arm is covering her face. I do like that Doc, while he's doing this, he's feeding Mr. Fusion the trash. But he says now it's time to destroy the time machine. We need to get rid of the time machine. He's like, what are you talking about, Doc? What about finding the future? He goes, nope, it's not worth it. And this is when he says, but I'll never get to go back to the old West. That's what I've always liked to do. And if, as a young kid, I'd be like, oh my goodness, they're like, he does go back to the old West. But this, it's almost like, well, I'll never go back to the old West. And I want to learn about women. I wonder what's going to happen. But, we just can't risk the time machine being taken, put in the wrong hands. And that happened. Like all that in that one sentence is like, there's Back to the Future 3. And what you just said actually just happened. So again, just some clunkiness that the first movie just didn't have. It didn't have so many different angles going that, you could pull the string on them 30 plus years later when you're sitting at your kitchen table podcasting about it 3 minutes and 20 seconds at a time. And yet the second one does have that. I do like that we see Doc in a shirt that has, I think I talked about trains and cowboys on it, and we will see that shirt in the third film. But as he says, it could go into the wrong hands. We see Biff, he looks like crap. He's, again, not explained. We see him kind of fall down and look sickly. They don't notice an old man almost tripping over himself while they're 10 feet from him. Again, just dumb. And we see Biff fall over. We don't see him disappear, even though he disappears in a deleted scene. And then they go right back to October 26th, 1985. I would be 9 years old, which means I would be in the 4th grade. And it might be around this time that I got kicked off the bus for me and my friend Billy were using erasers to play tic-tac-toe on the back of a bus. And we just wipe it away. We didn't realize we were actually like ruining the paint. And I say we're playing tic-tac-toe, but I think we also drew some boobies. I'd have to check with Bill. I haven't seen him since I saw him at a Tesla concert over the summer, I think. I'm still in touch with this guy, 40 years later. I have to ask him. We were drawing naked boobies, right? I think. And then we got in trouble with was that 4th grade or 6th grade? I think it was 4th grade, but it could have been 6th grade. Who knows? Just filthy, filthy children. But that's what I was doing in 1985. I was probably also 9 years old. Was I watching Back to the Future yet? Probably. But that's where they're heading back to. Doc put the time in October 26, 1985 at 9 p.m. I love the, did we make it? Are we back? And we're back. Like, that's great because that's like a perfect use of we're back for the trailer. We're back in a new movie, but it's also they're back in 1985. They've made it back. And we get another one of my favorite shots from this movie. It's always combining the special effects with the practical, like the digital effects with the practical effects. And we see the DeLorean floating in, and it's about to land. And it looks like it's all one shot, but it isn't, because as it comes down for a landing, it crosses. There's a telephone pole right there. And you can see on one side is a little special effect car. And on the other side is the actual car, and the other car, they probably put it on like, what's funny is you can see the difference in the hubcaps. Like the regular hubcaps are a little shinier, but it is pretty seamless. Like it looks like it's just in a fluid motion. They probably put the car on they put these little bumpers in the road. So when it drove over it on the other side of that pole. It lands. And I don't even know if the pole's there. Maybe the pole was added later, but the pole's probably there, and they pass right in front of it. It is a 2-second shot. It is a nothing shot, and it is one of my favorite shots of this entire movie. So they land right outside Jennifer's house because Doc, I hope Marty told him, because Doc knows exactly where Jennifer lives. I don't know. Marty must have told them. A little weird that Doc knows exactly where she lives. I'm hoping Marty said, go to this address. So they take her out, and thankfully no one hears them. Now, we don't even know if the Parkers are there, because we know what happened. But they pull up. There's this junk, this trash outside. There's bars all over the windows. But thankfully the swing is still there, and that doesn't change. They get Jennifer out, and he tells her, we're going to leave her here. Come back with your truck. Wake her up. She's going to think it's all a dream, even though we drugged her and brought her to the future. You're going to have to lie to her for the rest of your life. That's what you're going to have to do, Marty. If you love this woman, you will lie to her for the rest of her life, so that when we get to 2015, she won't remember. Now, what would have been better is when she said, this would have been smart. When Jennifer said, I'm old, the other Jennifer should have said, it wasn't a dream, and then passed out. I think I might have said that the other day. That would have been so much better, because then you realize Marty had been lying to her all these years. And then she would wake up and go, Marty, you lied to me, you son of a bitch, all these years. But again, that Jennifer obviously fell and, had a major brain hemorrhage. So they put Jennifer in the chair. They say, come wake her up tomorrow. She's going to think it's all a dream. And Marty's like, we're just going to leave her here. And then Doc goes, she's going to think it's all a dream. Like he says it twice in a row. She'll think it's all a dream. Like he's really freaking gaslighting Marty to believe like, it's going to be a dream, Marty. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. But, you better get some smelling salts. So they do a close up on Jennifer, and we never see her again until the very, very friggin' end of the series. We don't see her again. But the way the Doc goes, you better get some smelling salts. And Marty's a 17-year-old child. He goes, well, you're the Doc. If I was told to get some smelling salts, I'd be like, okay, cool. What? Like, is it in my parents' medicine cabinet? Like smelling salts? Where would I get such a thing? And Doc's probably like, wait a minute, Doc, you have a sleep-inducing alpha generator and smelling salts? How much of a creep are you? So they walk away, and we get the first clue of something's a little different. Marty's like, I don't remember bars on these windows. But Marty, do you also not remember the giant, like, smashed up car right there? There's a car that is just smashed. It looks like a wreck. It just looks like it hits someone or something, and it's right there. And you'd think that Marty would know there's a giant smashed car in his girlfriend's driveway. Like, nope, doesn't even look at it, because again, I'm surprised he even noticed the bars. That's how unaware they are. And it gets even worse because they're driving now. Are they looking in each other's eyes? Are they looking down? Because right now they're driving into the Lyon Estates, and the Lyon Estates, the kind of the, what do they call that? The signs when you go in, the two pillars, the two sides. I don't know what they're called. They're completely messed up with graffiti. There's garbage everywhere. Like there's all kinds of, just graffiti covering everything. It looks like a mess, and they don't notice a thing. I like the little feature of all those houses have for sale signs on them. So we see all these stray dogs run by, and then you see I don't think I noticed this for years. All the houses have for sale signs, and they have Biffco Realty signs. I love that. That's a cool little thing. And as Marty is being dropped off by Doc, we come to the end of this 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey. Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Even though we're done with 2015 forever, I'm always going to be hung up on the fact that how did Biff come back to that timeline? But he was able to, and they didn't notice him. So luckily, they were able to get back to 1985. They should be trapped there, and Doc should have to invent a whole new time machine, and they lose a year of their life. But that didn't happen. But you know what did happen? We made it through another day of Marchy McFly. We are closing in on the halfway mark already. But as much as we've been doing this, that just means that we still have more Marchy McFly in front of us than we do behind us. So with that being said, I hope that you come back tomorrow to hear more Back to the Future 2 talk. But in the meantime, did you know that you can follow me on all the social media things out there at Geek Mentality, except friggin' TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike, because somebody took Geek Mentality. For now. Well, you never know. Would it even be worth changing it? Probably. Yeah, I don't have that many followers that it would make a difference. So, yeah, follow me there, though. Do it. Do it now. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. That's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. That is it. I am done. I will talk to you tomorrow because that's what I'll do. And I'll be back tomorrow on Friday the 13th, the spookiest day of Marchy McFly. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you. Oh, no, I can't stop. I'm stuck in the accent. Hold on. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you tomorrow. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.